Good evening, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. God bless each and every one of you. Let's just jump right in, folks. There's plenty of things to talk about. Folks, it's been all going on 3 years since Fox News prevented. Actually, 2 years or so, going on over 2 years since Fox News prevented Donald Trump from speaking, blocked him from speaking. Perhaps he could have told people to calm down, remain peaceful like he did on Twitter, by the way, but Fox News blocked him. And since that decision, ladies and gentlemen, now it's what's going on. Got close to 3 years, 2122, we're going into 23, close to 3 years, they're still suffering for that decision. Trump is slowly destroying that network, even though, hey, Gutfeld is fantastic. And Tucker Carlson is very, very good. And Sean Hannity, who happens to be on the right side of history, now he wasn't 20 years ago with the Bush, Cheney and Rumsfeld regime in the US government. But if there's a morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat watching this saying, it were 90 seconds to midnight. We are 90, we are closer than ever, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, for the annihilation of the entire planet. We're going into Biden's 3rd year in office. If this happened under Trump, if there was an invasion in Europe, under Trump, we wouldn't hear the end of the apoplectic coverage. But now, there's an article: Biden has received the most positive media coverage. Trump has received the most negative of any president. So it's an entire bizarro world where at least Trump isn't tweeting, but we have inflation increasing. Okay. It went from close to 9 to 6 over 6%. And now it's back up, moving towards 7%. Real wages are down. We have crime that's up throughout the country. Shutting down economic activity was the worst thing we should have ever done. But you don't have Fox News pushing back against any of this. Trump is pushing back against this and a whole lot of other things. Now, is he right about everything? No. Where they right up with CNN and The Atlantic and MSNBC in the Times and The Washington Post, then the entire public relations monstrosity, where they write about Trump working with the Kremlin. They lied. They lied from day one. They knew there was a Veritas video of CNN employees saying, yeah, he probably didn't. Or what is just a whole bunch of nonsense, but they still kept pumping. The shame lies, Fox News, CNN, still promoted. Not so much Fox, but there was the promotion of the night, the absurd allegation that Trump was an operative of another country. So they never ever accepted, including Fox News, but CNN, and never accepted 2016. The Democrats never accepted 2016. And now they're reacting, utter indignation when Trump spreads with allies, but they were spreading allies for the past. And that they're their idea of truth as, well, it's the intelligence agencies. But the intelligence agencies don't actually show proof. If you read the intel, if you read the ODNI and DHS reports, and if you hear any of them in Congress, from James Clapper to Brett Show, John Brennan said, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. He told the little world right before the Mueller probe that there was no evidence but there was intelligence. So you have publications like The Atlantic's and Fox News lies, well, but CNN lies. They opened up a Pandora's box of, oh my god, 2016 the Kremlin installed Trump and now they can't possibly accept Trump's viewpoint on acceptance. Okay. But Trump is slowly destroying Fox, and now they're embroiled in lawsuits. And they're embroiled in lawsuits because they didn't simply react in the same manner as CNN with the Mueller probe. CNN routinely gave airtime to people who didn't know what they were talking about. Who thought that Trump devoured the universe, and who in MSNBC too, accusing Trump of working with the Kremlin, BuzzFeed, publishing the Steele dossier. They got out of it by saying, well, it was a government investigation. Okay. Trump, when he was making his statements, there were people in positions of authority that he referenced. Okay. That Fox News could have also stated, well, this is a government. There were individuals in the US government within Trump's cabinet who agree with him. But they didn't report on Trump's claims in the same manner. CNN reported on the Mueller probe and the BuzzFeed publication of the Steele dossier. They did this to the spin that was at Fox News was too close to Trump, and now because Trump it in eyes, he's taking down Fox. No, Fox News is being destroyed by Trump because Trump is his own man. He says and does the things he wants to say and do. His policies worked. We had record low poverty under Trump. And I'm speaking in a verbose, long-winded manner like I usually am, okay, for a reason. But we had record low poverty under Trump. And some significant news. The former House Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii just finished speaking at the Rage Against the War Machine event at the capital of Washington, D.C. She goes over some really powerful things that I want you to listen to her speech on how to unify the country, how to get rid of these idiots in Washington, D.C. that are leading us to World War III for money, and how disrespectful they are. She talks about how there's war-hungry Democrats, there's war-hungry Republicans, and they're all marching us towards our doom. This is really, really powerful. And I want you to hear it. Let's take a listen, she says. Aloha. Early one morning, on a Saturday on a beautiful day like today, in January of 2018, over 1 million people all across the state of Hawaii woke to their cell phones buzzing and ringing, radio alerts blaring with a message that read ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii, seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. I and so many others I happened to be here that morning. I started calling my friends and calling my family concerned for them and where they were. But just as you here might imagine if we all got that alert at this moment. So too did people all across Hawaii start to ask themselves the question. Where is their shelter? Where do I go? Where do I take my children to be safe knowing that there is an inbound missile to Hawaii with a nuclear warhead and we have just minutes to live? We had college students at the University of Hawaii sprinting across campus trying to figure out where they could possibly go to get shelter. Followed father who lowered his little girl down a manhole, thinking that may be the only place she may be safe and telling her goodbye. I might not see you again. I heard after from a father who had one kid in town on the island of Oahu and another child on the other side of the island and himself in the middle trying to decide which of his children he might spend the last of his minutes with, an impossible decision for any parent to make. Countless others shared their stories of their panic, cowering in the bathtub with their kids trying to understand they're telling us to seek immediate shelter. Where do we go, and experiencing that harsh reality? That was as true for us there in Hawaii in 2018. As it is for us here today, there is no shelter. Our leaders failed us them. And they continue to fail us now. Those people who work in our nation's capital eagerly continue to escalate tensions, eagerly wage new Cold Wars, understanding that if there's a nuclear attack, yes, they will be okay in their bunkers, where they literally have plans to be able to continue to wage wars from their bunkers, without any consideration for the rest of us, and the destruction and This was ultimately the thing that caused me to run for president in 2020. Because I saw where our leaders were taking us, I saw the dangers of where this new Cold War and nuclear arms race would eventually lead. Whether intentional or accidental, there is only one destination for such wars, and that is a nuclear holocaust. I made it clear, then, that this is a central issue of our time, the most important issue facing us in the 21st century, and that there was a clear choice in that election. We're either going to work towards peace, de-escalate tensions, move away from this new Cold War, or we will continue to race rapidly towards nuclear brink, toward a new Cold War with Russia, a new Cold War with China, and therefore racing towards nuclear war. Now, for those of you who remember that election, this issue was not important to the media. They refused to talk about it. They refused to raise the question, the debates. There was no other candidate willing to talk about this issue. It was not important to them then, and it's not important to them now. And so here we are 2 short years later. What I warned about them is now our reality. This proxy war that we're fighting against Russia right now could turn at any moment into a direct conflict between the United States and NATO, and Russia, a country that has more nuclear weapons than any other in the world. Now, anyone with a little bit of common sense knows that a Cold War can very quickly turn to a hot war. And then when you're waging a hot war against a nuclear-armed country, it's just a matter of time before it leads to the use of nuclear weapons at any moment. And here's the insanity of it all. We have talking heads on TV, we have politicians, we have very powerful people here in the United States and all around the world, speaking with a straight face. Well, you know, if we start World War III, or when World War III starts, here's how we're going to fight and win, that if Putin decides to use tactical nuclear weapons. Here's what we're going to do, as though such a war could ever be won. It cannot be won. World War III cannot be won. They're living in this archaic mindset of World War I and World War II and not facing the realities that we have today. There is no way to win a nuclear war, there is only one end. And that is a nuclear holocaust. So we're gathered here today, because we know that it doesn't have to be this way. We know that there is a better way and that the task before us is urgent and necessary. We have people gathered here from all over the country, people who are gathered here from all ends of the political spectrum. And if we were to have a conversation, my guess is there may be other things we don't agree on. But the truth is that we could disagree about everything else. Everything else. But the one thing that we do agree on that brings us together here today is that we value life. We want to live. We want our loved ones to live and thrive. We want to be able to go out on a day like today and walk in the trees and hear the birds chirping with the sun shining down on our face. We understand that whatever our differences may be, that we must stand together as people who cherish peace, security and freedom. We must set aside our differences, work together to fire those warmongering politicians from both political parties who served their masters in the military-industrial complex instead of serving the people, those warmongers who carelessly and thoughtlessly are sending us hurtling towards a nuclear holocaust that would destroy all life, and the world as we know it. The only way we can stop them is when we stand together and lift our voices in unity, telling them no, we will not let you destroy us. We will not let you destroy our loved ones, our communities, our country here in the United States and around the world. If we stand together on this one issue, we will be able to wrest the power away from those who don't care about us, those who bend the knee to their overlords in the military-industrial complex, take back that power and ensure that we take those trillions of dollars they are feeding into the war machine and instead dedicate those resources towards peace, prosperity, and freedom. We cannot be free and prosperous or safe unless we are at peace. We are the spark that has the power to light that fire to bring about change. So let that spark of love that exists in every single one of our hearts, that aloha, be that inspiration and that fuel that provides us with the courage to fight against these powerful entities. Knowing that our cause is just, it is right, and it is necessary. We must work together towards this future and fulfilling and accomplishing this mission of peace. Thank you very much. Aloha. Okay, folks. What a great speech. What do we do if they accidentally kick off World War III? How do we come together as Americans? How do we come together as humans? I mean, we are humans on this planet together, and yet we're willing to rip each other apart. So I was grateful for her speech on unity, American values, and getting these awful people voted out of Washington, D.C. They are corrupt, they are bought, they are influenced, and they are leading us to our doom. So I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Vote for who you think has good morals and will put forward good policies. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and hit subscribe.